Hello, my name is Josie. For those who don't know me, thank you for being a patron. Thank you for taking the time out to listen to my story. This one is about teenage pregnancy. Yeah. Here's the backstory real quick because I don't want all of these videos to be super long, right? Because it's going to be a lot of videos. Again, if you have a child that you plan to show these videos, you need to watch the videos first. That's my disclaimer, okay? So, basically, this is how it started, okay? This is the before conception prelude type situation. I had a boyfriend. I was in the 9th grade, and he was in the 10th grade, I think, at the time. He was always a grade ahead of me. So yeah, I think he was a 10th grader. And when football season started, he started having more practices. And at the time, I didn't know how any of that worked because I just got to high school. So I took his being busy as him talking to some other girl, like most teenage girls do. You know, I was 15 years old at the time. And so this guy that had been trying to talk to me since probably 7th grade, I finally decided, okay, well, this person's not paying any attention to me. Let me talk to this guy, If you've seen my other video, you'll already know that I was already sexually active at the age of 15, okay? So, with this guy, it was spring break, my 9th grade year. His parents, I don't know why, we got into some stuff. Y'all don't understand. Like, y'all be doing some stuff, but we did some stuff with less technology. We were like some mischievous kids. Anyway, his parents left him at the house with the van, so he could drive around and everything, right? Left him with all of that freedom and responsibility. And back then, I believe spring break was like 2 weeks long, maybe. It just seemed like forever for me. And here's the deal. This is what I did. Because this is what a lot of y'all still do. It's just 2.0. So, the whole time that I was spending with him in the empty house, with the van, with all of this access and stuff, I was telling my grandparents and my aunts that I was at my friend's house. And my friend, she would vouch for me, if they ever called to look. I didn't have much supervision as a child. So, all of spring break, I'm hanging out with this guy, doing things I shouldn't be doing. And I basically got pregnant, long story short. And I knew because it was that we were protected most of the time, but the one time we weren't, there was that and I just knew it was just, I was done. I knew in that moment that it was just over. It only takes one time, even though as you get older, you swear you're pregnant and you're not. Anyway, so I handled my business on the sneak. I went to Planned Parenthood because I already knew about it, because I had already been sexually active for like 2 years prior to that. So I took myself to Planned Parenthood, got checked out, found out I was pregnant, got it on paper, and I was so heated. I came back to school and I went to his class and I asked, for him to step out of class. And I shoved it in his face because there was a period of time, just like all the damn time, especially when you're in high school, they'll be like, that ain't mine, because, all girls are hoes in high school, according to the guys, and vice versa. So I showed them paperwork that I really was pregnant, things like that. I went to the nurse's office and let them know and everything, and they put me in a parenting class. I did not want to do that. Like, I was like, what's the point, you know? So I had to drop. Who did I drop? Yeah, I dropped choir. I was in choir and orchestra at the time. And I had to drop one of my electives, and I was pissed about it. So I'm in this parenting class with like 40 other girls that's pregnant. Some of them are on more, on their second baby. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know it was like this, right? We didn't learn nothing in that class. I don't remember nothing but tacos. We would always make sure we had something to eat in that class. We didn't learn nothing in there. So basically, I cheated on my boyfriend and got pregnant, right? And it was really close to the military ball. I was still, of course, like olive oil, if y'all can even imagine that. I was very, very skinny, like no shape, no nothing. And I still hadn't told anybody yet. I remember that I wouldn't take a picture with my boyfriend at the time. Like, I didn't want to take a picture with him at the military ball. For that reason. I waited till after the military ball to tell everybody. To tell he was so pissed off. Oh my gosh. The drama. My aunt, that was the pivotal moment right there. When my aunt found out, that was my first time seeing her upset and like actually crying. And I don't even remember half the stuff she said, but I swear I feared for my life. I was like, oh my God, like, I already knew it was bad, but it's that extra layer of bad when you know you hurt somebody by your actions. You know what I mean? Like, that was tough. And I had to face my family basically saying, oh, well, you're just going to be like your mom and your sister now. Like, it was one of those, we were supportive of you all the way up until this point. Now, screw it. What's the point anymore? That's the kind of attitude that I got, like, yeah, we'll be here for your basic needs, but at this point, we're not going to push for you to be successful in life. You know what I mean? Like, that's the energy that I got initially, right? I was pregnant during a lot of the summer in Texas, and it's hot, right? So I ended up, I didn't even like the dude that I slept with. Okay, like, I was just mad at my boyfriend. So I ended up trying to, like, make something out of that. We ended up, because I was pregnant, we ended up, like, getting together. His parents were very religious. His dad was a bishop. And they wanted us to get married. And I was like, you done lost your mind. I was even very rebellious then. I remember staying in the courts, or what do y'all call the projects? There's different words that different people use, because I know I'm speaking like probably on a global scale right now. And I was living with my aunt, and the environment wasn't healthy. I'm concerned about my baby now. I had already made the decision once I found out I was pregnant that I was not going to be like my mother and my sister, no matter what my family was saying. I was going to be the complete opposite, right? So I looked around at my surroundings, and I thought to myself, do I want to bring a child into this particular living space, right? But I didn't think of it just randomly. I only thought of it when I knew that there was another option. So there was this girl that I met in parenting class, and she was telling me where she lived. And I didn't even know this place existed. Shout out to Seton Home in San Antonio, Texas. It was a place for pregnant teenagers to go and live, like that were homeless or didn't have a home, things like that. So I literally asked my aunt to let me go live there. Like, I made that command decision. A lot of teenage girls, when they get pregnant, I don't know what happens, but it seems like it just makes them worse. But for me, it was a completely different situation. And, a lot of people thought that I was going to be like everybody else, so I literally proved them wrong. But it wasn't about me proving them wrong. It was about the fact that I didn't want my child to have the same life that I had. I saw what I did. I realized the magnitude of the situation. So I did what I could, I got on Medicaid, and I got on food stamps and everything, and I moved into Seton Home. That was my choice. I literally made the choice to live in a place that had rules, that had visiting hours, just so my baby would grow up in a clean and peaceful environment. Okay? I was in a house with 8 rooms, and we had a house mom. That's what we call the people that have shifts that work there. They're in charge and they supervise us and things like that. We had days where we had, each person had to do dishes and things like that. We had our responsibilities. We had extra parenting classes. I had a lot of parenting classes, right? I really loved that place, and I appreciate it. I really did appreciate it. There were some times where I had my regular teenage problems where I wasn't feeling good because I was pregnant and my body was changing and I didn't want to do the dishes. You know what I mean? So I got rolled up for that. Those kinds of things, you just, you don't get to use the phone or whatever. One thing that I did find is that my boyfriend didn't come see me. The father of my child did not come to visit me while I was there. He basically, during a lot of my pregnancy, he kind of avoided me, and I became a tyrant. I made sure that if I found out he wasn't in class, that his teachers knew. Like, I was horrible. Like, he became public enemy number 1, just like in a lot of adult relationships. When you get pregnant, you can't stand the guy. Like, it still happens. I remember when I was walking to school that I would throw up from morning sickness every day in the same place. Like, morning sickness was a beast, okay? And before I got pregnant, nobody knew who I was. I was quiet. I was a wallflower. I was bullied, right? But the weird thing about when I got pregnant was, even though everybody knew the scandal and everybody knew I cheated on my boyfriend and I was just like I was the enemy, right? At the same time, I actually ended up gaining a lot of support and a lot of friends after that storm. People would give me their lunch and their breakfast and stuff because, pregnancy, extra food, right? But what really, oh my gosh, what really got to me was the support of my teachers. I guess it's because they saw that I didn't give up and I was still trying, because I was in ROTC, I was in orchestra, I was mad I had to drop choir for the parenting class, but all in all, I was still passing in school and I still had my electives. I was out there drilling my squad, pregnant and all, with the company commander coming every 5 minutes asking if I needed to sit down or eat or something. I still did everything I could with ROTC, in orchestra, things like that. And I promise you that I've never felt so much support in that kind of situation. I was surprised. I was so surprised at the support I got. Okay. They even let me get in the picture. You know how they take the panoramic photo of the whole company in ROTC? Like, they let me get in that picture, and that meant a whole lot to me because I couldn't fit the uniform. I was like, wow, they're letting me still take this picture with them. You know, it was a huge deal. And I remember one day being in health class, right? I was in health class and my teacher sent me to the office. I thought I was in trouble or something. I didn't know what I was going to the office for. And I really don't even know what excuse she used. I don't even remember. All I know is that when I got back to class, they transformed the whole room. They literally threw me a baby shower, and all of the students in that class had like bought my son a gift. I left school with so much stuff, like I needed help carrying it. They had a cake and everything. I don't even know if I cried. I can't. Y'all, I'm 35 years old. I was 15 then. Think about how long ago that was. Okay? But that was so profound to me. I didn't have to buy my son clothes for like the first 2 years of life. Okay? This is probably going to be a part 1 and part 2 video. So, I had a whole bunch of support from my school. I stayed in all of my classes. I had the option to go to a school that lets you graduate at your own pace, but I chose to stay at my school. You see, I stayed at Seton Home, and I remember one night I kept going up. I went to the house mom and I was like, I don't feel so good, And I think she told me, oh, those are probably Braxton Hicks contractions or something like that, right? I ate some cereal, laid back down, and I'm like, man, something ain't right because this is highly uncomfortable. I just kept having contractions and they were getting stronger. And, I let a couple of hours go by and I went back and I was like, look, I still don't feel good, right? So that's when she made the arrangements for my aunt to come and pick me up and take me to the hospital to get checked out, right? I had a friend. This is so funny. It's the cutest thing. I had a damn friend that was there, and excuse me, cousin. I just said I wasn't going to do that. I had a friend that was there, and she was due probably a month after me. And her mom happened to work at the hospital I was going to, and she asked for permission to go with me. Okay, so she was there. When I got there, they went on ahead and induced me. She was like freaking out the whole time. At a certain point, I had to tell them, look, just don't let her come back in here. Cause like it was like if she was in my situation, you know what I mean? Like I was too busy trying to keep her calm. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I used the same doctor that delivered a lot of people in my family. Why did I have close to 15 people? Because it was a suite, a birthing suite. I had a lot of people watching me have this child. My sister was there, my mom was there, my aunts, there was my caseworker, like everybody was there, right? And I don't really remember too much of, I got the epidural and everything, I ended up having to get a episiotomy because I was small and that was my first kid and I wasn't even grown yet. So an episiotomy is when they have to cut you a little bit so the baby don't just split you open and you be all toe up down there and stuff. That was probably too graphic, but it's okay. My doctor hooked me up so he didn't, so my son didn't mess up my lady parts. Um, but I had my child, and everything was good. We went back to Seton Home, and I was there for a little while, but they had like a transitional space to where you and your child could stay there. You weren't with the pregnant girls no more. And I chose not to go to that space, all because of the fact that they were not going to let me get a job, and I needed to get a job as soon as I could. So I got my first job at 16. I had him in December, and I was 15 then. And then the next month in January, I turned 16. So I moved back with my aunt, and I got a job. My son was in daycare. And I'm telling y'all this part because, again, the amount of support I had with my baby was amazing. A lot of the people I went to school with worked at the place that I worked. I worked at a marble slab creamery in the mall. And I never went without some kind of babysitter. Somebody was always willing to watch my son while I was on my shift. Football players, cheerleaders, all kinds of people would watch my son for me. And I was so grateful for it. And I used to take my son up to the school, meet my teachers and things like that, because the daycare was right across the street. But yeah, I got so much support, and I'm so grateful for all that I went through. I got the job, and shortly, I think my son was still, he was probably, a few months after I had my son, my mom got out of prison. And that was my first time seeing her in a couple of years. Okay? So, I ended up moving in with her, with my son. And I'm trying to think what I was trying to tell you. I really don't even remember what I was about to tell you. I moved in with my mom and my son, and we got acquainted. We had that moment where she had to show me who she really was, because I was still trying to talk to her crazy because she wasn't there. And, she was all like, I'm still your mom. You gonna respect me. So, she had to post me up. But that's the only time she ever had to do that. We've been cool ever since. We have been cool ever since. Oh, man. But yeah, I made sure, when my mom did come home, instead of being resentful and being just a butt face, I bought her clothes. And this is why I was grateful that I had the job. I bought her clothes and stuff like that for when she had just got home. So I was very accommodating when she got home, even though I had my moments where I had my attitude. I just did not react again like a lot of teenagers would react. Like I told y'all, I stayed at my school. I continued on doing everything I needed to do. So I guess my message in this particular video is it doesn't matter whether you're pregnant or not. There's no excuse to just not be productive or to throw away your dreams or to not work hard. There's support, even if it's not from your family. There's support from strangers, from inner city programs, from your school has like programs attached to it, things like that. If you come across a roadblock, there's always some kind of resource somewhere, and you find that out real quick when you become a mother. When it's no longer about you and it's about your child, that's when stuff starts to really that's when you start to get motivated outside of yourself. Okay, but there's a lot of teenage pregnant girls that don't really click like that. I don't know why. Maybe it's because they come from a family that's actually loving and they didn't have abandonment issues and things like that. So they, maybe they were sheltered and they act helpless when they get pregnant or something. I don't know. There's all kinds of different reasons, but the point of me telling you this, if you are a pregnant teenager right now, is that you have a choice. Just like I had a choice. I was surrounded by a whole bunch of pregnant teenagers that was not on my level, okay? And I had all kind of adversity. My family had lost faith in me. I literally had to make that choice to handle my business. You see what I mean? I had to make that choice to decide to give my son a better life than I had. It was about him. It was no longer about me. And a lot of pregnant teenage girls, they don't have that realization, and I don't understand why that's the case, but I'm here to tell you that you do have that choice, no matter what it looks like. You can make that choice, and you can do what you need to do. Don't get wrapped up in promises from the baby daddy or nothing like that, okay? And yes, it is very easy to get pregnant right after you have a baby. So you don't need to be letting people come in and out of your life and all this and that. That happens too. So you want to be responsible, okay, with yourself, and understand that it's okay to wait. I know you want to have fun and everything like that, but fun is what got you where you are. It's okay to wait. It's okay to say no. It's okay to ask for help. It's also okay to cry when you don't even know what the hell to do with your child. All of that is okay, because you're going to go through the 5 stages of grief, especially right after you had a baby. You're going to go through it every hour, the 5 stages of grief. And there are going to be times that you wish that you could just have your childhood back. There are going to be times where you wish that you could just be a teenager again. And understand that once you learn enough, once you get your footing as a mother, you will be able to have times where you can indulge in being a child again. And it doesn't matter how old you are. I'm talking to regular moms too that started when they was in their 30s. Just because you're a mother does not mean that you cannot tap into your inner child. Go skating. Play hopscotch. If you want to throw a party with all of your girlfriends, a sleepover, you can do that. Don't let nobody tell you, oh, that's immature or that's stupid. They don't know your life. Okay? I still be coloring and blowing bubbles. I'm just saying. And another thing I suggest for teenage moms is to get counseling. So you'll have somebody to talk to about these things. Make sure you have a support system. If your family not going to support you, build your own support system. Start gathering people that are going to support you and keep in contact with them, and always make sure that they know what's going on. Do not, for the sake of yourself and your child, do not ever have a period where you are silent and you feel like you can't tell somebody. If you are having suicidal thoughts, because that also happens. Postpartum depression is real. If you feel like you can't do this, if you feel like you're going to neglect your child, the people that care will be grateful that you said something. Okay? They will be grateful and they will tell you that you've done the right thing. Whether you go to the authorities, whether you go to some kind of counselor, some kind of hospital, something. You're not alone. No matter how much you think you are alone, you are not. There are all kinds of hotlines out there and all kinds of stuff. And if you live in an area where these things are not available to you, yet you're watching my video, so you do have access to the internet, research on the behalf of your child when you are feeling like you just can't do it anymore, or you feel like you're not cut out for it. You're going to have all of these feelings. But I'm here to tell you that the longer that you're a mother, the more you're going to learn, and the more you're going to adapt, and you're going to become stronger in your role. Okay? You need to be broken in order to be put back together and be stronger, and your child will break you all the way down. Your child will break you down. But you're also going to have those moments of immense joy, and you're going to have moments where you feel major accomplishment. Okay, you're going to be proud of yourself. There are going to be moments where you're going to be proud of yourself. Okay, so it's not all horrible. As long as you are making sure that you're taking care of yourself first so that you can take care of your baby. That means mental health. That means physical health. That means sometimes separating yourself from people that you can no longer hang around with because you have a child. There are sacrifices you're going to have to make, because there are people, there are your friends, especially if you're a teenager. Your friends will influence you to neglect your own child. They will influence you to do that. And this is where you have to make the command decision that you no longer need to be in my life. Okay? These are all it all boils down to your choices. You, what you decide. It's going to be hard either way. But your choices are what are going to make it harder, or what are going to help you triumph. Okay? There's hard and then there's harder. Which one you want? Because harder is going to take you longer to get your victories. But if you go ahead and make those sacrifices that you need to make to keep it just hard, then you'll reach your victories faster. You see what I mean? All of it is your choice, though. You could decide to be reckless, neglecting your child. All of you, those are decisions that you make in every single moment. Okay? Understand, it was a choice. And for you beautiful souls out there that are experiencing depression and things like that, the depression may not have been your choice, but the decision to get help is. You have to want help in order to be able to properly receive it. Can't nobody help you if it's not what you want. So if you choose to stay miserable, that is your choice. So you can't be mad if people are not helping you and don't want to be around you. You actually have to take the advice and do the work, okay? You can't just keep talking about how miserable you are, growing your misery. It's not helping you or your child. But hopefully this video has helped somebody out there, because you can and you will, because once you're pregnant and you decide to have the baby or keep the baby or not keep the baby, either way it goes, you're going to have to deal with those consequences. And there are tools out there to help you deal with those consequences. You know, and then after that, once you've done all the work, those consequences, you realize they're not consequences, they're blessings. They're lessons that make you stronger. You know, they're experiences to where not only can you help yourself in the future, but you can also help others. Okay? So yeah. That's my teenage pregnancy story. That was my first child. I got 4 boys. I'll I don't know how I want to do these stories, but I'll tell you about my next child in another video, because that's attached to another story. Y'all have a good day. Thank you for watching, and thank you for being a patron.